Hello, one and all. This is part 2 of the same vidcast. And the problem was that the thing ran out their space on the device. Another annoyance there. So continuing on with a different device just to be able to get the last bits in, really. The last bit I would say about this is, again, coming back to something that we spoke about earlier, and this idea of like railroading, which I believe I don't do. Now, the players at the table said basically the illusion of choice, and pointed that out. Well, basically we're being given the illusion of choice. Okay, so it depends how you look at that, because the players could choose to step forward into a dreadfully dangerous thing that is almost certain death. And I don't mean like an enemy to fight, but some sort of environmental factor or whatever. And, they could choose to end their lives and whatever, and I won't stop them. But there are certain times in life when a problem is so bad that it would actually railroad you. Okay, so at the moment, the group is in a position that makes them feel like they've just got to go along on the rail and survive it. Now, given the fact that we've run a campaign that is so very open, really, normally, and given the fact that even within this module that they're on, there have been a lot of multiple choice pathways, different ways that the players could deal with it, different solutions, secrets that they may or may not find. There's so many open possibilities in that respect. And the very fact that we are in the confines of a structure inside a building, choice is somewhat limited to what you can think of. And if you can't think of something, it isn't always necessarily that the situation hasn't been prepared well enough to give you enough choice. Sometimes it's just the case in life that a thing is so bad that there is really only one obvious way past it. Now, if that can happen in real life, then that should certainly be able to happen in RPGs. And to me, the idea of that being able to occur sometimes gives the RPG actually a bit of a difference in pace. This particular adventure they're on has increased and increased and increased in pace until we've come to the point where, it's like run for your life and working as intended, basically, here. To really give it that sense of dramatic pacing that has built and built to this point. Now, what I'm talking about in like real life situations, when you see people that are stuck in like a awful things like terrorist attacks and stuff like that, where you see like subways have been attacked before, and obviously there's the World Trade Center, which was a really bad example. Well, a good example, but bad, as in it was, difficult for a lot of people. Or you imagine something like where you were... I don't want to make light of these things, basically, even though we're talking about an RPG and I'm talking about, like, disaster elements in real life. I don't want to make light of them and say, hey, the World Trade Center was a bit like that. I want to show, I'm not insensitive and stuff, that's... I see that as terrible. But I have to give it as an example because it is the context I'm trying to get at, basically, to make my point. There's no other way. So, trying to, say, escape from something like that, or let's just say you were in a shopping centre and the place was going to blow up, or there was going to be a gas attack in there, or a gas attack has just gone off, or a virus has just been unleashed, and you're in there. And sometimes you can't always fight the problem down. Sometimes it's environmental. Sometimes there's a landslide coming at you. Sometimes there's a problem so big that you could either stay and die, or you can get the hell out as fast as you can, right? And a situation where the odds are so bad against you, and that you're basically having to move along as fast as you possibly can. Well, that's, at the moment, the group's got that on them, and they're not really used to having something like this, something that's bigger than they are, a problem that's more than they can handle. But that's exactly what this situation is. And think about those people that are genuinely in a real life terrorist disaster. Yeah, think about someone in like that shopping centre, that example shopping centre that's got gas spreading through it quickly, and you're standing there watching the gas come towards you. Now, are you going to run for your life if that were to happen to you, or are you going to stand there, shake your fist up at the sky, as you can see through its skylight windows, and say, "God, you're railroading me"? It's not going to occur to you at all. You're going to leg it. So I think sometimes players need to get with the picture in as much as real people would have to get with the picture. And this is a scenario that is as bad as that, basically. Now, that said, if we're going to run things like, whatever thing is chasing them, then I'm not a lethal GM. I'm not going to be like, okay, you have failed the dice roll, now you are dead because the thing has chased you and you have failed on 10 dice. I try to give a bit of tactical choice or whatever. So what I'm going to do in the case of something chasing the party, some sort of disaster, let's just say they were in the shopping centre and the gas is coming at them, yeah? They're running from it. What I would do in this case is say, okay, all right, I know that maybe your need to get away isn't necessarily reflected, your panic, your fright to get away isn't necessarily reflected in the roll of a die, because that's a total random element. And depending on the severity of a threat, you would actually put more into getting away, wouldn't you? Okay, so I understand that. And the way I would deal with that sort